Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Thursday. Today I'm going to be doing the next stage, stage 3 of the Hachette Partworks release and build the Lancaster bomber. Now in this stage, we're actually going to be finishing with some of the parts that we had from the last stage, stage 2, and then we're going to be working on the cockpit area, which we actually get in stage 3. So I think before we actually look at stage 3, let me just give you a quick recap of where we're up to. If you remember, in the last stage, we had created this turret section here. In the first stage, we had done this bit of the fuselage here, and we put some details on. We're going to be continuing doing that with some of the parts that we had from stage 2. And then as you can see, we've got the other side of this, which is going to need some details on. We're going to be doing that today. We've got two sections of the fuselage. This one here, which I believe came in stage 1. And we've got this one here, which again, we're going to be building onto from stage 2. We had the tester board in stage 1 here. And then finally, we did the first propeller here. And we gave that a test as well in that tester board. Now we did have some stuff left over which we're going to be using today. Let me just quickly show you that. Tiny parts, but we've got some bits of window here and glazing, a control board, and what looks like a VHF aerial here. So we've got quite a bit to do in stage 3 because we're going to be finishing off what we've done in stage 2 and we're going to be adding some of the sections in stage 3. Now if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description. Once again, there's also a QR code on the screen that will take you straight over to the Hachette Partworks website. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So this is stage 3's magazine, and as you see, they do have this sheet in here as well. This once again is what you can actually apply for this. If you haven't got an internet connection, you can fill this out. It will send it to Hachette and you'll be able to get this collection. And once again, it's just going into some of the free gifts that we get with this, like a Lancaster pen. We got the binder there. We've got a die-cast Lancaster there. We get a tin poster. Looking pretty good, isn't it? So that's that. Anyway. This is what we've got in this pack, and let me just quickly show you that pack. Looking just like that. Lots of metal in here. You can tell that through the weight of this. Put that to one side, because we're not doing that to start off with. We're going to be finishing what we had in stage 2. So we're going to be putting the control board on and a little bit of the glazing here into place, so it's looking just like that, including the VHF aerial there. Then we're going to be moving on to stage 3, which is this cockpit frame here. We're going to be putting some glazing in that, so by the end of it, it's looking like that. And I will just show you through the rest of the magazines about the Mark 1 Lancaster there, and just some more information regarding this. Now, I've had so many emails regarding the dihedral, I think I'm pronouncing that right, of the Lancaster. The dihedral of the Lancaster, from what I read, it should be 7 degrees. So I will be checking that when we do the build to make sure that's as close as to 7 degrees as I can possibly get it. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So as I did mention, I am going to need this part of the frame because I'm going to be putting the control board into the slot that we've got there. Now, if I just put this in where it's going to go, just as a dry fit, it's going to look just like that there. So I'm going to need to glue this into place. And I am using my Gorilla Glue for this. Make sure there's not too much on the end. And again, you really don't need a lot of glue. So I'm just going to brush some glue just on the side of this section here. Push that into place. Just going to hold that for a second. And there you go. That's in place. So I'll put this to one side, and I'm going to need this metal section of the fuselage, and I'm going to be putting a little bit of glazing just in here. Now this is again what came in stage 2. It looks just like this. It does fit over the pins that we've got here. So I'll push this into where it goes. And I want to see how that holds. So it's looking pretty good in there. I am going to keep that in just with a tiny touch of glue. Again, I'm using my micro crystal clear in here, which is just basically a snazzy PVA glue. Now, it's not going to stick anything straight away, but it does hold itself in pretty good on here. What it does mean, though, is that when it dries, I'm not going to get any fogging on this window. So I do get, again, people asking me, this isn't going to hold. And you're absolutely right, it's not going to hold at all. But leave it for 12 hours and you'll see it will hold really well. So I'm just going to clean up any excess which is spilled over. That's looking good, and it looks good from that window there as well. Now, in the hole at the top there, this is where the VHF radio is going to go. So just on the base of this, I'm going to brush that with some of my glue. And I'll get that in place so it's looking just like that. Now that was the end of all the parts from stage 2. We do have one part left over, which is this bit of glazing here. So we're not using that yet. Keep that to one side. And I'm going to open what we get in stage 3. Again, my favourite way to open these is just to do that. And as you see, it just lifts it off the card, no problems at all. Now, this really isn't going to need glue to put this in, but what it is going to need is some patience, because I'm going to be putting this glazing into this section here. It actually goes this way round, and you want to put it in to make sure that all of this frame fits in the indents of the glazing here. We did the same thing when we did the turret here, so we're going to be doing exactly the same thing. So it is a case of lining it up as best you can, and then working on one side and making sure that the frame is in one side, and then doing exactly the same on the other side. It's going to take some patience to make sure you've lined this up correctly so everything is in. So as you can see, I've got one side done. Still working on the other side. I'm sort of holding this and pushing it down like this to get this lined up. And now I'm just sort of making sure that the glazing here fits underneath this section. Got one more bit to do just in this corner. And that took me probably about 5 minutes to actually get that manoeuvred and pushed around. You tend to find you have a levering force with your fingers by pushing the glazing down and put this bit up, and you'll be able to get them all in. So as you can see, they're all in the trenches of that glazing now. Now in the open section of the windows, we've got these observer blisters here, which are just going to go in here just as a dry fit. They're going to go this way round, so the teardrop of it, the smaller end, is going to be facing towards this end here. Now again, I'm going to want to hold that in with glue. I really do not want to use super glue in case it frosts up. So once again, I am using my micro crystal clear. Again, it's not going to stick straight away, but after 12 hours it should create quite a good bond in there. So one side there, and there's the other side. Get this one in, just hold that into place. So that's going to look like that, and then I'll do the other side. And when they're both in, they look like that. That looks really good, doesn't it? Now I've got the Astro Dome, which looks like this. This is just going to go into this back section here. So it actually fits in, but this one's actually going to be screwed into place. And I'm going to be holding that in with a BP screw. They come in this pack. Got them here. I don't need oil on this because I'm going into plastic, but something you really want to make sure of is that you don't over tighten this, because you don't want to crack the plastic. But there you go. That's in place like that. Now on the front of this section just here, I'm going to be putting the fuselage nose, which looks just like this. And that's just going to be going underneath this section here, once again held in with the same screw. So lining it up, get that screw in there. And with that in, it should look just like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Now, we do have some parts left over. We've got this massive metal base for the cockpit here. And we also have the nose blister, which looks just like that. That was actually quite fiddly. It is fiddly getting this canopy into the frame, but persevere, do one side and work your way around until it's all done. But it will go in as you can see just there. Looking really good though. Once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description and there's a QR code on the screen, but I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.